So on this worksheet, guys, we're supposed to be demonstrating how we know how to use the correct order of math operations, which is Pemdas. In addition to that, the second half of the worksheet, it's evaluating variable expressions, and we need to know what that means. Evaluate means to plug in the value that they give you and then simplify. So did anybody struggle with any of these first part of the questions on the worksheet? Number 20? Okay, so on the first part, like 1 through 15, anybody struggle on those? You guys all got the correct answers. Check them in the back, yeah? Is there anyone that you'd like me to explain just for a review? Pick one. 13. All right, so 13, it's not evaluating, it's just simplifying. Turn on, please. So there are several operations here. There's multiplication, there's exponents, there's subtraction, more multiplication, more exponents, more multiplication, and the division bar. However, this division bar, the way to treat it, you're not going to divide before subtracting. That's not the way of doing this, because if it's a fraction bar, what you have to do is simplify the top, simplify the bottom, and then worry about dividing at the very end. Okay? So the fraction bar, yes, it's division, but wait until the very end to actually divide. So if you focus in on the numerator, like if I completely ignore the denominator for a little while, we have 3 operations: multiplication, exponents, and subtraction. We're going to begin with what? Exponents, right? If you look at Pemdas, it starts with P, there are no parentheses, then you go to E, exponents, and we do have exponents. We have exponents here and here. So let's do both of those exponents. 5 squared is 25, 4 squared is 16, and you might as well rewrite everything else. There's a multiplication, there's a 4, there's a subtraction, there's a 5, and there's a multiplication. So now you could kind of ignore that and just focus in on those 2 operations, multiplying and subtracting. So if you're going to multiply the 25 times 4, what do you get? I guess I should clarify that we are multiplying before subtracting. On Pemdas, the M comes before the S. So let's actually multiply the 25 times 4. This guy right here, what do we get? 100. There's 4 quarters in a dollar, 100 cents in a dollar. And 5 times 16, well, 5 times 10 is 50, and 5 times 6 is 30, and 50 plus 30, that gives you 80. And of course, we are subtracting. So what is the last step? Subtracting 100, take away 80. That is 20. So up on top, we get a nice answer of 20. Up on top, we get a nice answer of 20. On the bottom, 5 times 4, that is 20. And now at the very end, once we have the numerator simplified and the denominator simplified, then we could actually do this fraction bar, which is really a division problem. 20 divided by 20 cancels out. It's 1. So your final answer is 1 right there. All right, so we did a lot of Pemdas yesterday, a lot of order of operations. The thing that we lacked was evaluating variable expressions. So right here where it says evaluate each variable expression if, and then they give you some values. Evaluate each variable expression, that means just plug it in. Plug it in, right? That didn't come out that good. Or the correct, more nicer word would be substitute. Substitute the values that they give you and then simplify. So what we're doing here is taking the value of 12 for A, plugging it into A. Taking the value of 9 for B and plugging it into B. Taking the value of 4 for C and plugging it in for C. So whenever they tell you to evaluate a variable expression, I highly recommend that you rewrite everything exactly the way it is, but with parentheses instead of the variables. Instead of the B, the A, and the C, rewrite it with parentheses. So parenthesis instead of B, and it's squared on the outside, plus 2 times parenthesis with the A minus C, but instead of C, I want to put parenthesis squared with the square on the outside. So once again, notice I replaced the B with parentheses, the A with parentheses, and the C with parentheses. Why do we do that? Because that helps us to get the correct answer. If you don't use parentheses, you might make a mistake. For example, A, the value of A is 12, right? It says right here, A is 12. If I just plugged in the 12 right here where the A is at, I might think that it says 212 without the parentheses. So it's important to put the parentheses when we're plugging in values so we don't make mistakes. Let's just go through and remind ourselves what the values are. The B value is 9 and the C value is 4. Okay, so the B value is 9, plug a 9 right in there. The C value is 4, plug a 4 where the C is at. And the A value is 12, plug a 12 where the A is at. So that's the first step on evaluating a variable expression. The rest is just order of operations, right? Simplifying with Pemdas. So let's start with Pemdas P, parentheses. Do we have any parentheses? Yes, but is there anything to do inside here? There's just the 9. Is there anything to do in here? No, just 12. So the parentheses, they tell you to zoom in, but there's nothing to do there. So there's really no P for parentheses. We just move on to the next letter, E. And there's definitely the E exponent right here. 9 squared. What's 9 squared? 81. Okay, do we have any other exponents? Yes, we do. The green one. Now, you see right here, it's important that we put 4 in parentheses and keep that minus sign on the outside, because when I do 4 squared, that'll give me a 16. But when you bring down the minus sign, it'll go back to a negative 16 or a minus 16. If you didn't have parentheses there, you might think that it says negative 4 squared, which is positive 16, and that would be incorrect. So it's important that we use parentheses. Last but not least, right here, let me just bring down the plus 2 parentheses 12. So again, I checked for parentheses. There was nothing to do in the parentheses. I moved on to E exponents. We had 2 of them. We did both of them. I rewrote everything else. Moving on, after E on Pemdas, we have the M and the D. Is there any multiplication or division here? Yeah. Yes, there is. It is right here, 2 times 12. So let's do that, 2 times 12. And we'll get 24. We're going to bring down everything else, the plus, the 81, the minus, the 16. And now we're just left with addition and subtraction. They're both worth the same. Let's go from left to right. So if I go 81 plus 24, well, 80 plus 20 is 100, and 1 plus 4 is 5. So we end up with 105, right? And take away 16, and we'll get 89 as a final answer. Okay. And that's about it. Would you like to see any other ones on this section, 17 through 25? 23? Sure, let's do 23. Once again, let me jot these down right here. A is 12, B is 9, and C is 4. That way I could zoom in and we could still have those values there. So once again, the trick is to rewrite everything, but with parentheses. So I have up on top 2C cubed minus A times B, all divided by 4. So you just rewrite the whole thing, put parentheses instead of your letters, and then plug in your C value, which is 4, put a 4 right there, and then plug in your A value, which is 12, right there, and then plug in your B value, which is 9, plug it in right there, and then you do the math. Now remember, when you have a fraction like this, simplify the top, simplify the bottom, which 4 is already simplified, but simplify the top, and then worry about the fraction bar, which is a division problem. So let's focus in on the numerator, and the numerator, ignoring the denominator. So if I ignore the denominator, do I have any parentheses? Yes, but there's nothing to do. I just plugged in numbers. I move on to E exponents. I do have exponents. I have 4 to the 3rd power. What's that? 4 times 4 is 16. And then 16 times 4, that's technically 64. All right, so let me rewrite the top. I have 2 times 64. Then I have minus 12 times 9. And I might as well, whoa, that didn't work. I'll rewrite it over that denominator 4 that was down there, just so we could keep that 4 down there and we don't forget about it. So let's move on and continue with the top. We have multiplication on both. Let's do both of those. If I multiply 2 times 64, I get 128. There's a subtraction sign. Let's multiply 12 times 9. We'll get 108. And of course, it's all divided by 4. 128 divided, or take away 108. Up on top, we'll get 20. And on the bottom, we still have 4. Now that we simplified the top completely, we got 20, and the bottom was already simplified. Now we could worry about this fraction bar, which is really a division problem. 20 divided by 4 is 5. There's your final answer for that question. Okay? So obviously, again, guys, the only way to get good at this is to practice. You might be sitting here every single day and understanding exactly what I'm doing, and you understand it, that's great, but you're not going to actually get mentally stronger unless you sit there and do these on your own, right? So if you understand everything I did, that's great. Are you ready for the test? Heck no. Okay? The only way you're going to be ready to perform well and get a good grade to pass this class is if you take the responsibility of practicing this on your own. Again, if you go to the gym and watch somebody work out every single day, you're not going to get buffer. You might understand how to work out, but the only way to actually get physically stronger is you to pick up that weight and start doing those exercises that you understand how to do, right? So if you understand what I'm doing, that's great. But if your worksheet looks like this right here and it's totally blank, that's not good. You're not working out. You got to work out that brain to be able to pass this class. So please, let's finish this worksheet if you haven't done so already. I want to give you another practice assignment today. And tomorrow we're actually going to have a quiz. And what's that quiz going to be on? It's going to be on verbal phrases that you have to write algebraic expressions with, right? Like the quotient of a number and 3. Oh, that's just x over 3 or x divided by 3, right? That's half of it. And the other half is simply this, Pemdas, order of operations, and also evaluating, which is just plugging in and then doing Pemdas. Okay? That's your whole quiz tomorrow. We only did 2 simple sections this entire week. And you guys have the ability to ace it if you just practice, if you work out. Right? Let's work out right now. Finish this worksheet. I'm going to hand you this other worksheet so we could actually work out some more. So if you already finished the WSP worksheet, that's great. We have some more practice for you right here. This one's a little different because I don't give you the answers, right? There's extra practice. It's a class activity. I would like you to complete this. And once you get all the correct answers, it should spell out the answer to this riddle. Why is it good to have holes in your t-shirts, right? So let's go through a couple of these to show you how it's going to work. So if we go to number 1, they want us to simplify. And of course, you're using Pemdas. Parentheses, they're right here, parentheses. So what do I need to do in there? I need to do -1 plus 9. What's -1 plus 9? 8. That's right, you have 9, you owe 1. So what we really have, let me write the answer 8 that you just said and then rewrite everything else. Put that -2 in the front, and -2 times 18 is -16. So this is the answer, and which answer is that? It's this one, right? So we go to the 19, and we're going to place this letter in it. So go to 19. And what letter was that? That's a R. So go to 19 and put an R right there. And so on, right? Should we do a couple more? Sure, why not? No. So if we go to this next one, parentheses first, what's -3 take away 4? -7. You owe 3, you owe 4, you're going to owe 7. You still have the parentheses, you still have the 5. 5 times -7?
35.
-35, that's right. So let's look and see where -35 is at. Right here is -35. So we go to the 36, and we're going to put an S on that 36. So go to 36 and put an S right there. And of course, each of these boxes is a different set of problems. So let's say we're working on evaluating. Right here, you're going to plug in a -4 for X and a 3 for Y. So on letter E right here, we're going to plug in 7 times that -4 plus 1. 7 times -4 is -28. -28 plus 1 is -27. So as you look at your answers right here on the side, the -27 is on the 18. So go to 18 and put the E on there. Go to 18 and put the E right there. Now, there is simplifying using Pemdas, and there's also this fourth box which is simplifying using combining like terms, which we haven't actually talked about. That's actually next Monday's lesson, all right? But we might as well throw it out there right now since it's on this worksheet. We're going to combine like terms. Now, what does that mean? Combine the terms that are alike. What does that mean? Combine the ends with the ends, the numbers with the numbers, apples with apples, oranges with oranges, right? So if we look at right here, it has 3 terms. 2 of them are n terms. It's like saying I have 9 noodles, but I owe somebody 2 noodles, right? Or I have $9, I owe somebody $2. What's my answer there? 7. So I have 7 of those n's. And then what's left over? The minus 8. Now when I write it right here, could I take away 8 from 7n? No. It's like saying I have 7 apples, take away 8 bananas from there. You can't do it, right? They're different terms. So 7n minus 8 is your answer for letter O. So when we look for 7n minus 8, here it is. So you're going to go to the number 41 and put the O right there. Number 41 and put the O right there. I don't know, since we haven't done this section, should I do these for you and give you these answers? No? You guys can handle combining like terms? Even though we haven't taught it?
We're not that dumb.
I'm not saying you guys are dumb. I know you guys are smart. But if we haven't taught it, I don't know if. All right. Let's do at least a couple more of these. Like let's do Y. Let's do Y. What could I combine out of these 4 terms? What could I combine?
1.
The 1 with what? With the negative 7. Remember, letters with letters, numbers with numbers. So I could combine the 3n with the minus 5n.
But then you have negative.
That's going to be a negative 2n. That's right. And I could also combine this minus 7 with this plus 1. That's like owing 7, having 1, yeah, negative 6. So there's your answer, negative 2n minus 6 for the letter Y. So where's negative 2n minus 6? It's up here. It's 28. So we're going to go to the value 20 or the spot 28 and put a Y right there. Spot 28, put a Y right there. Let's do one more of these combining like terms one. Which one? Pick a letter. T? All right, I have 3 terms. Which of those 3 terms could I actually combine on T? Negative n and the positive 8n.
So it should be 8 negative 7n.
If I owe 1 and I have 8, I'm going to have 7, right? I'm going to have 7 of those n's.
Negative 7. 7.
Positive 7, yeah. And the 12 is positive, so just put a plus 12 right there. Okay. So if you look, T will go on what spot? On the first spot. Because if you're looking at 7n plus 12, there it is, 7n plus 12. So let's go to that first spot and put a T on there. All right, so let's work on this. That's the extra practice tomorrow. Like I said, we're going to have a quiz. Half of it is on these verbal phrases, guys, where, the quotient of 2 and x. The quotient of 2 and x, that's really saying 2 divided by x or 2 over x. Half of the quiz is like that. The other half is where you're actually using Pemdas to simplify. So this is all practice for tomorrow's quiz. I hope everybody practices to get a good grade.